Welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre The Beast Crayton Show with my beautiful celebrity co-host, the host of the newest high-powering podcast, Jessica Javen Talk. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andre. I'm so happy to be here. We've been working a lot on that podcast, and
Look,
I'm learning so much.
Let me hit the right song for the right occasion. Working 9 to 5, but you said it's more than 9 to 5. Nine to what?
9 to 10.
You got a new podcast coming out. Tell the viewers a little bit about it, how it came to be, and the whole 9 yards. Give us a little bit of insight on that.
It came out from my transformation with myself and wanting to empower other people to do the same and to realize that they have much more power and access to things that they are aware. So bringing this awareness out there and bringing all these extraordinary people to talk about extraordinary things on the podcast will empower people around the world to tap into that in their own lives.
And I'm feeling all that energy over here, man. That's like, whew, that's too powerful.
Me too.
Debuting this spring.
That's right.
Okay, I'm excited. But I'm even more excited about the next guest we got on the show. Now, I've been following her on social media, and she has deep connections to Kenny G, which this ain't about Kenny G today.
Oh, man, I love
Kenny. I know, I love Kenny G too, but it ain't about Kenny G. He got to book his own time. You know what I mean?
Right.
We'll send him a link and let him handle his business. But
yes,
just imagine having a mindset that filled with resilience, that no matter what obstacles stand in front of you, you're gonna achieve. Nothing's gonna hold you back. Can you imagine that?
That's freedom. That's like power and freedom at the same time.
Total freedom. That's called beast mindset.
Yeah.
You know, if something's in front of you, you got to figure out, am I going under it? Am I going around it? Am I going over? Or more importantly, am I just going to kick it the fuck out the way? You know what I'm saying?
right.
We have a young
That's
lady on the show that has definitely done that and a hell of a lot more. And she's here to tell us that truly beast mindset story. Introduce our guest.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. Katina Ann, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before we get started, look, I'm getting goosebumps. When I hear somebody doing the shit that she's doing, man, I'm like, wow.
Mm.
You know, because when I hear people with that beast mindset, it just, it's almost electrifying. You know what I mean? You feed off of what they're feeding. And more importantly, they're not bringing any negativity. Tell the viewers a little bit about you, Katina.
All right. So my name is Katina Ann. I've been in healthcare for over 25 years. So been around the globe. I do a lot of different things. I'm an entrepreneur in so many facets of things that I do. And I guess, that beast mindset is that whatever, and this is for everyone, whatever you set your mind up to do, you do it. You don't let obstacles get in your way. And that's my mindset. That's what I was driven to do at a young age. And I continue to do at an older age. I'm not saying my age, you guys, and just keep moving with it. So I'm one of those people that I don't stop. I have resilience. And you know what? When I get my mind to it, I'm in that beast mode.
You speak on resilience, and you speak about always, and this is something I found out about people that have that mindset. It's forged. Notice how I use that word. It's forged in you when you're young. And I think a lot of times you don't realize that. I think great people like that deal with a lot of situations growing up, but they're able to really look at it, internalize it, and really know how to put it in its right perspective. With that said, growing up, where did you grow up and what was your childhood like? Because a lot of this stuff starts at a young age, because you hear a lot of people when you ask them, what was your childhood like? If their childhood like was filled with a lot of trauma, they have a tendency to be what I call a late bloomer. They have very difficult times trying to do what you said, What's the word about your podcast? Changing the outlook, the mindset about how they approach life. What was childhood like for you?
So with me growing up, believe it or not, so I was actually, we call it tomboy. So I was actually a athlete. So I did a lot of different sports. I did basketball, track, and volleyball.
Mm.
All American in college. Just very humbled on what I've done. Won national championships, and as a child, I guess my parents instilled in me that whatever you do, whether you fail, whether you succeed, you be humble about it. You know, if I won a national championship, okay, but you know what? I keep working hard to be better and better and better. And so as a child, with my family giving me that, you know, it was instilled in me, and it still is to today. You know, if I succeed at something, okay, I'm gonna go to something else and I'm gonna be better, and I'm gonna be better. I'm not gonna be satisfied. And
Mm.
I think as a child, I think that is what really drilled who I am today, is my parents just making me believe that whatever we do it out of humbleness. We do it out of, you know, the want to, not the willing not to want to, and you keep going with it. And I've instilled that all my life. And that's just who I am.
Where were you raised? Because you're in Illinois. Were you
Um,
raised in Illinois?
no, I was not. No.
Where are you from?
I am from an area out of southern Missouri, actually, in the
Really?
Missouri area. Yeah.
Okay. Now, with so much resilience, you know what? Your resume sounds almost like mine, and a lot of people. I'm kind of like you. I don't share all my accolades and things I've accomplished because I'm kind of like,
Right.
okay, what's the next one? I remember individuals didn't even know I was an Olympic candidate in the Olympics, and they was like, wow, and the way a lot of people found out, my dad had news clippings, and I didn't even know he had the news clippings, and people was like, well, why don't you? It's funny because people say, why don't you share that stuff? And I almost consider it like boasting. I'm like, look, that was a part of my life. I did it. Let's move on. You sound like the same type of blueprint. Like, okay, I'm a national athlete, all American. I was too. Hey, that was then. Let's keep moving forward. With that said, even though individuals like you and I have accomplished these type of things, we're still met with some obstacle. That's just life. When you open the door, everything's you're stepping in what I call the real world, real things. What were at least three of the things that you had to overcome uh, through this journey? Katrina? Katrina? Did she freeze? I think she froze. Katina?
Can you hear us?
Let's see if she comes back because we can edit it. Check 1 2. Check. Do me a favor if you can hear us, just log out. Yep.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Good.
Wow. That
Good.
was, it's just proof.
Yeah. So Andre is just
Sorry about that.
restarting and he's coming, and we'll edit
Okay.
that part out and we'll just take it from where we stop with the last question. I think
Absolutely.
there you
Okay,
go.
we ready? Start from the last question.
Ready.
Okay, so the last, were you able to hear the last question?
No, I did not. I
Okay,
don't think so.
okay, let's start over. One, two, three. With so much of things that you've accomplished, which is truly great, I can relate to a lot of that, accomplishing and so forth, and being humble at the same time. But people fail to realize that you still got to open that door and walk into what I call the real world, where you're still dealing with people, issues, and so forth, and it's going to come back and affect you in some kind of way. Give me 3 moments of your life that this has happened to you.
I would say starting off as a nurse in some facilities, your self-worth is more than everything. Coming out as a young nurse, the older, populations with the veterans of nursing, they usually don't look at the younger ones the same. We have to kind of get in where we fit in that. And I think just because of my energy and the way I was built, I had to show like a lot of tenacity of who I was as a nurse, if that makes sense. More of, you have to gain that trust, that respect of knowing that, this young lady is a nurse, she's doing her thing, and she's kind of where we are. How do you overcome that? So that mindset is you just keep pushing, you keep working, and you know what? I drown out the noise. So that's one. The second one is I'm a licensed nursing home administrator. I've been for over 10 years and I managed over 17 facilities. And so when you have that many responsibilities over thousands of employees, everybody look at you on a level of she's here to what? What is she here for? And so you have to be willing to overcome the mindset, the pushback, is she here to help us? Is she here to hurt us? And so I think that one is the main one that, really gave me more of an insight of where I am today of, you know what? There's thousands of people out here in the world. And you're going to have so many mindsets coming at you with different opinions, different abilities, and you got to be able to overcome that. And I think that is actually the main one. And
Mm.
the last one is just here in the present today, just being who you are. I mean, with what we build and what we gain over our lives, you're still going to get that, and I still do. But the willingness just to keep moving on, I think, is just how I'm built. That's just who I am. So I don't let it affect me. If it does, I know how to take care of it and I move on.
You're a woman of color, and you're a strong woman. You can tell. Um, a lot of times, being a female with that type of strength and empowerment can be intimidating not only to other women, but it can be intimidating to males as well. Have you ever ran into to where you felt like maybe you had to, what's the word I want to use? A lot of people call it imposter syndrome, but where you had to tone your stuff down to be able to fit in. And when you had to do that, give me some examples of that. And then when you look back on it now, would you had done it? Because when you have to change yourself to fit into any type of role, me personally, I don't think I've had it happen to me a lot of times, but I know we have all done it. But at the end of the day, you feel like you've been castrated. That why did I have to do that to fit in? And more importantly, was it really worth it at the end? At the end, especially if it's related to a job. You're going to fire me anyway. But I've been playing,
Yeah.
shine your shoes, yes sir, no sir, sir, to fit in. You know what I mean? Has that ever happened to you?
Absolutely. Actually, it's happened to me several times. I guess, like you said, with the energy that you have, I think a lot of times people are actually made, not just by like, I want you to do it, but they're actually made to tone down. And so what I've encountered and I'll never forget this day, I actually managed a facility that was in trouble. We had a lot of, state issues. I'm usually the person that comes in and we help clear those things with, reports and things. And I sat in that building as administrator for about 6 months, but starting off, it was horrible. So the owner is the one that I actually had to actually coordinate with, because not only were we in problems with the facility, but we actually had a remodel going on. So we were remodeling like Alzheimer's units and just the whole facility, that what took me like 3 months to get going, it took his regional team like a year. It's been sitting there a year. And so I guess when I sat in the facility, and I'll never forget this, I started getting things moving, getting the right people in order to, get what we needed to do the project of the facility and also manage the facility.
Right.
And so it was a particular, we have what you call regional groups that come in and they kind of oversee the buildings of what administrator does. And so I think that moment of toning down was that whenever you come into a position and if you have that mindset of like, I'm going to get it done no matter what it takes, I'm like, Jessica, 9 to 12, 9 to 12 the next morning. We do what it takes to get it done. And so with that being said, it was a mindset of, you're doing too much. You need to slow down. We can't keep up. We don't want it to be, just take your time. And I think it was more of that. It was something that I was able to do myself with my team in the facility versus what the regionals couldn't do out in the open. They had this force, they had more, I would say, more resources to get it done. But with that sense, it was almost like, okay, you need to tone it down. You're moving too fast. It's almost like you're making me look bad, And so I think that was one moment to where if I look back on it,
Mhm.
I wouldn't have done anything different because that's how I'm built.
Wow. You had a question, Jessica?
Yeah.
I love what you said, and that makes me. I'm a firm believer of not seeing the mistakes as a setback, but as an opportunity for learning and for growth. So I love that. And when you see it like that is where you just open doors to opportunity, instead of holding yourself back. So I love what you said.
You talked about I can feel the passion with the healthcare industry, and I'm gonna be blunt about this as it relates to questions, because part of the show is to educate people and bring awareness. And when you don't know something, we should be a resource of information with our guests to share. You've been in the health industry and you mentioned overseeing projects and so forth, especially when you're dealing with stuff like Alzheimer's units and in the age and so forth. What are some of the most heartening things that you had to live with and see? And how did you, and because you've seen these things, were you able to set in motion change with what you've seen with the amount of experience that you've had in this arena?
In the healthcare field?
Yeah.
Okay. I have, and I think one of the hardest thing that, and I see it still, even though I'm not specifically there because I do so many things, but it's more of what it is now versus what it used to be. So back in my day, we had that level of you get in, you do your job, you take care of the people, and I'm all about people, ethically, I'm compassionate. And so if I have an elderly or Alzheimer's unit, or if I see someone in need, that's just who I am. But in the healthcare arena, I see so many now to this day that there's no compassion there. I'm not speaking for everybody, but just the way it's built today,
Mhm.
it's hard to see, where we are now and where we used to be. And I think the level of just the respecting of, for me, the elderly and being in these type of facilities in the healthcare, I mean, it really hits home to me. It's like, I wish you could save the world, but you can't. You can't save people's mindset of, this is just a job, I'm going to do it and I'm going to go home. It's about when you're expected to take care of humans, that's what you do. And I think that's the hardest for me. That is actually the hardest for me,
Really?
being in the healthcare field.
Now, you're not currently in the healthcare field anymore, correct?
Yes, I do. I contract also in the healthcare field, correct? Yes.
As a contractor, what are some of the things that you have to change when as a contractor, like what are some of the things that the most difficult parts of your role? Are you going in there revamping pre-existing medical facilities? Are you implementing new policies? Like exactly, tell me a little bit about what you do.
So in the healthcare side of it, we implement policies, we implement medications, because I'm a doctoral student. We implement, if the person's not getting what they need in this plan of care, we're able to go and adjust that and fix that to their specific need. So we travel to these facilities just to make sure that, their medications are good, that their plan of care is good, that, that the facility, they're structured to take care of these people the way they should be, and that's what we're contracted to do. So we offsite ourselves as, people of, I would say, advocates also, even though it's our jobs, we are advocates, of these people in the facilities. So that's kind of mainly what we do. We go in and we implement. We implement medication changes, is this right? Do we need to send them to the hospital? So we do those kind of things.
What's suffering in the field? I know patient
Um,
and compassion. I just left the hospital 5 weeks ago with a knee surgery, and they were more focused on me going home to get treatment as opposed to staying in the hospital. In the tripped out part about it, this is the question they asked you before you have that, and I thought it was really cool because they seen the class and it's like, is there anybody to take care of you after surgery? And I clearly was like, no, you know, well, we're going to keep you overnight. We're going to make sure that you have a place to go, care, or you can find a place. So I found a place. Long story short, I found a place. And I remember coming out of surgery, and they make you walk, which, your whole leg is paralyzed. Look, I felt like Superman.
yeah.
You know how it is. I felt like Superman shit. I was like, fuck, wow, I'm moving, man. I'm trying to run. I'm doing everything. But I keep forgetting, I'm doped up.
Yes.
I'm doped up.
Yes.
So this is I'm gonna finish this story so it makes sense so you can understand exactly where I'm going with this question. So
Okay.
I'm walking back to my room and I'm like, and I remember the lady said, "Man, you're doing really good." I said, "Well, that's good because that way when I go to the nursing home that has me a bed already and they got rehab, I do great. I got my whole plan worked out because I did it prior knowing I'm gonna have the surgery." The lady said, "What are you talking about? You're not going to know. You're not going nowhere. You're going home." I said, "Pardon me?" I said, "No." I said, "I was clear with my treatment plan, my aftercare plan."
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like, "Oh no, we don't send people there. You going home."
Yeah. Wow.
I got emotional because I'm like, it was almost like the Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
I was like, what are
Yeah.
you talking about? Now I'm already just coming out of surgery, but now you're traumatizing me. You know what I'm saying? So that comes with the
Yeah.
compassion that you're talking about. They were so adamant about sending me home that luckily I knew one of the surgeon nurses there. She came and talked to me. Just like, "Dre, they're trying to send you home." I said, "Home to where? I mean, like nobody's there to take care of me. I already got my aftercare plan." So she went back. I stayed overnight. But the long story short, they wound up kicking me out. They said it was going to send me
Mhm.
where I was supposed to go, but they never did. But then I figured out when I went back to the doctor, to get my other knee done. This was like 2 weeks ago. And I said, "Look, I don't want the same thing that happened to me 5 weeks ago. Are you going to be able to send me to the treatment place so I can get treatment? If not, I need to come up with plan B." And he said exactly what I said. They don't have the time to do that. The ideal is to numb your leg. Pain medicine wears off within 48 hours and you're at home. This takes the responsibility away from the hospital, puts the responsibility on your family. And they call
Yeah.
it, they know what
Yeah.
it's called the level of care. So my level of
Yeah.
care, this was I figured all of this out. The policy that you're going to talk about. The policy was to get me out and get me home and to not be a burden or cost dollars to the hospital. So it would have cost them more time to fill out a simple paperwork on my level of care to go to a place that I already been approved for But it was easier to say his level of care is great. He's able to walk, he's able to do this, able to do that. But they fail to realize that's a false read. I'm numb. But you fill out the
Absolutely.
paperwork. Yeah, you fill out the paperwork saying I'm deemed to do this. So the insurance company won't allow me to go
Ugh.
to get my own care. So that's policy. So how has you've seen these things happen? How does that make you feel?
Mm, man, it makes me feel really bad for our system. I'm just being honest. And when you talk about level of care, one of the things is insurance. So that's pretty much what it's boiled down to. So what we deal with is, so when you have a specific surgery or any type of procedure that requires pre-authorization from insurance companies or
Right.
whatever your plan is, HMO, PPO, it doesn't matter. So they base this off of, okay, number one, does he have the strength to go home? Does he have the strength to take care of himself? Check. Yes, he does. Okay, insurance company won't pay for it only because in order to save the dollars, they're going to make sure that if we can check as much as we can, we're either going to send you home or if we can, we are going to send you to a rehab or somewhere else. And I think that's the most difficult thing is that we have insurance companies actually, how do I want to say this? Making decisions for our care. And I think that's a little scary because, like you said, it could be that I may come out of the hospital a little bit better than you, but what is it for the insurance to decide, where we are? And I think that's the most heaviest thing that we deal with in our facilities. It's always about the insurance. And if you don't have insurance, watch out. You will go home
Wow.
with no help.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the hardest in our field.
How do what needs to be done to change it? You've been in the field long enough.
I
What has
think
to be done to change it?
I feel that, it's a system. It's a system throughout our United States. And one thing that I always advocate and tell my clients all over the world where we go is you have to advocate for yourself. You have to know what insurance you have, number one, because if you get any kind of plan, they're going to tell you anything just to get your money for your premium. So you have to be diligent as a person to be able to understand what is it that it takes to require if I have to go to a nursing home. So we got to do a little bit of homework ourselves.
Mhm.
We can't leave it up to the system because they're not going to tell us. So I think the most important thing is the empowerment. Like Jessica, I can't wait to see your podcast. Is making sure that you know what it is about your insurance or whatever it may be. Don't wait for the system, the doctors, the hospitals. You need to be an advocate for yourself, and you need to have a voice for yourself. And I think that's a lot of what's missing. We don't have a voice for ourselves because we don't know. We need to take the time out to get our resources and know where we stand. Even if we don't have a knee surgery, we need to know where we are with our health insurance plans. Understand it because they're not going to tell you.
Wow. And you know what? You're 100% right. That really, I'm gonna be honest, Katrina, that scared me. I'm still scared because I have to go back in
Yeah.
what, 5/12, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm still petrified because I did file a complaint. I did, put out, like you said, took the thing and
Oh,
this
wow.
stuff. Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
pissed. I mean, I'm a grown man. I'm crying because this is that's called an invasive surgery. I don't know what's about to happen,
Yeah.
especially when I go home and there's nobody that this. What if I fall? But I already told you,
Absolutely.
I already told you these things were like manifesting over and over in my mind. I'm thinking, wow, if they're treating me like this, me who's strong and fit, and you're sending other people home by falsifying their level of care based on the fact that they're doped up and they have 48 hours to stay this way, and
Yeah.
then once the pain meds wear off, what if they fall at home?
No, it's a lot. My
It's a lot.
my husband was in a car crash. He had spinal injuries. One was completely severed, and the other one was cracked. So
Oh,
he has rods and pins on his lower back.
oh my.
Almost died. But anyways, when he went from the surgery, hours after we got to the hospital, after the surgery, they were going to take him to another unit. I think to check his lungs now because they were concerned about maybe collapsing or something. I wasn't sure. And thank goodness I was there and I had friends coming and then my friend said, "You make sure you tell this group of people that are taking care of his lungs, this unit, that he just had spine surgery or something like that," because she said, "You see, it's a different part of the hospital, and sometimes they just go over the paper so fast and they don't know." Um, and I'm sorry, he had also a broken rib. That's what it was. It was the broken rib.
Oh, wow.
And when I went in and before they took him to check his lungs, I said, make sure that when you're moving him to this bed over here, that you're being gentle because he has broken ribs too. Oh, okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Mm.
Like they didn't know
Yeah.
the miscommunication.
Yeah.
If you're not there, you don't have
Yes.
something with you, and then you're all doped up. Who's gonna advocate for you?
That's right.
I'm going to ask this question
Wow.
to you. I can see how you bring your process of empowerment into the work field. But what are you mostly passionate about? What are things that really get to you that keeps your engine going?
Man,
You
gosh.
wasn't prepared for that. When you
Um,
walked through that door, man,
What am I? Gosh, I'm passionate about a lot of things. I think just being in the field of empowering others in general. I get joy out of just knowing that if I'm able to just lend a voice to someone
right.
to move further or just to motivate them or excite them or, hey, you started this. How did you do that? That's what I'm compassionate about. That's what I love. I mean, I thrive off of that stuff. That's just who I am.
What was one of the biggest joys for you with helping and empowering individuals? An example of somebody or a situation that was completely collapsed, and you came in and just basically used your energetic superhero powers to make a difference.
Mhm. I think one would be just, like
Look,
I said,
look, she said, I think
in
one.
the, in,
That means
I
you
think
got many. Look, you said, well, let me.
well, there's many, but there's one particular area that was way out there in a field. It's all about healthcare because that's what I'm compassionate about, and I think that this one, I think we saved the day. We had a lot of we didn't have any staff. You know how you come into a facility, you have all agencies, so we're paying them 10 times the double amount of money. It's all about money in order to survive, make this facility survive.
Right.
And so when you're working 80% on staffing and 5% on just regular employees in your facility, that's hard because it goes back to what Jessica said. You have that level of care and you have someone coming in that don't even know your patients. That's tough because, hey, you didn't know Mrs. Jones used a Hoyer lift in order to transfer. And so you drop people, so that's important. That's very important. It's important to the state. So I think this one, I think, just left me to the end of, you know what? If I can't be more proud of anything else in my life, this did it. So 80% agency, 1% our staff, we were able to turn that facility around in 4 months with no agency, from nursing to nurse aides in general. And I think being an advocate for patients, I think that was it for me. I think that's a check mark for me. I'm going to carry it for the rest of my life. We were able to provide people that can come into the job, be our own employees, and not worry about the lack of level of care. That did it for me.
How
Amazing.
widespread is this? How widespread is are these issues throughout the United States and abroad? Like we're hearing so much about healthcare. It's always been a political platform for
Yeah.
politicians to rise on, but let's get real. It should be able to be a simple fix. It should be able to be a
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
fix. What do you think about that?
It's not a simple fix. This is everywhere. It's abroad, it's internationally, it's everywhere. And I think until politicians or the United States or families, people advocate, for what's real in these facilities and in healthcare, it's going to continue to be this, this up and down. I don't know how it could be changed, whether it's policies, every facility has policies we have to abide by. So it's not a lack of it not being there. It's the lack of how do we get the government, the insurance companies to understand that in these healthcare facilities, we're dealing with humans. So what you may see on paper is not who you are when we have to take care of you. And I think that's going to be the biggest struggle from right now until the end of time. I think we're going to have to keep advocating, pushing, fighting, advocating for yourself in order to see a change. When that is, don't know.
Is there a major what from your expertise? What's the major difference between the corporate side in the private sector as it relates to healthcare treatment and policy?
Um, as far as like on a corporate level of the
Yeah,
ownership or on the corporate level of ownership.
but just in
So
general,
as a,
because I know you're dealing with the main topic is policy with healthcare. So, do
yeah,
corporate get a different set of rules? Does the independent corporations get a different set of views and values? Because um, I know personally they got different healthcare organizations. Some are independently owned and operated. Some of them are, like you said, corporate. Is there a difference in the way? Um, Naturally, there's a difference with funding, but is there a difference in policy? Because if somebody says, "Well, I'm going over here because they're a private sector," they're not going to treat me like this. You know what I mean? So, what's your take on that? Like, what's your overall view between independent and corporate type funding places?
okay, well, there's two things. So in any institute, whether it's private sector, privately owned, corporation, LLC, it doesn't matter. It's healthcare. So when you look at skilled nursing, you look at private sectors, you looked at residential sectors, there is a difference. It's a difference in policies. So for skilled nursing, we're driven by the state, we're driven by laws, we're driven by Department of Health and Senior Services. Residential, you don't have so many policies, you have to abide by the policies of the corporate level. But as far as dealing with the state, you don't have to institute so many policies as far as Medicaid and Medicare regulations. So there's a difference. But the overall, I think the overall division of this is everybody has policies. When you join a organization or buy an organization, you still have to do the missions, the policies, and you have to stand by those. You can't change them unless you institute them, for the better. Um, they're all driven the same as far as, how we take care of people, but on the private sector, residential sector, it is driven by the regulations of the state.
So you
So
still,
if I came into, mhm.
so you still can be treated the same no matter which one. So you hear people say, "Well, I would never go to this one. I'm gonna go to a private." But you're saying if they still follow somewhat the same guidelines, you can still be treated like shit, even if you're an independent.
I was just get I was I was getting to that. No matter if you're private, skilled, it comes from the people within that you hire. And I hate to say this, but I've seen it so many times. It doesn't matter if you're the Royalton Suites of Paris. It doesn't matter if you're the Queen of Elizabeth of Italy. If the person that you hire doesn't have the capability of caring,
Mhm.
or if the company doesn't have the capability of following their mission and goals of what they set out to do, which is, you know what, if we hire you to come on to take care of our people, do that. If you don't understand the insurance, when you bring our clients in, we are the ones that are supposed to educate you when you come into our facility on what you have in your insurance and what to expect when you walk in the door.
Doesn't
So
this
if they're not doing that, that's where it fails.
doesn't this sound a little bit that this is a screening and training thing issue?
It
It is
does, don't it?
100%. 100%.
With that said, before we close, what do you want to be known for? You've worn so many hats and achieved so many things. And my hat's off to you for bringing this information about healthcare and patient care, and for people to understand that. I don't even know if it's a situation we can all work together, because these policies have been around forever. And I'm a firm
Ever.
believer we need to go back and relook at these policies, whether it be in the healthcare industry, whether it need to be in the judicial system, whether it need to be in corporate America. Everything starts with policies. And if you look at it from the get-go, a lot of these policies have
Yep,
been outdated and not updated.
you got it.
What do you want to be known for? The lady of that's fighting for healthcare and patient advocacy. I mean, what do you want to be known for? What's your next mission here?
What I want to be known for is just having a voice for myself and others. I'm not going to change as far as my endeavors. I do so many because I'm driven. So whatever this piece is over here is not going to change who I want to be. I am my authentic self. So being known for just a person of honesty, trust, integrity, and knowing that if you talk with me or if I meet you or in person, I am who I am. I don't change my stripes. I don't change who I am. You like me, love me. If you don't, I'm so sad you missed out on an opportunity to know me, but I
Right.
keep moving on. So I guess it's my own authentic self. Know me for my own authentic self.
Out of so many things that you're doing, why healthcare over all the other things that you're so passionate about?
I started with healthcare. I love it. It's a compassion. Like I said, I love people and just helping. And it's not about elderly. We have younger people that's in nursing care,
Yeah.
18, 19, 20 years old.
Mhm.
So it's just about treating human beings the way you want to be treated. And I think that's the biggest part about my healthcare. That's what I love. I'm a people person. I love it. And knowing people and others, healthcare is my thing.
I love it. I love it. Such a great story. And you're a wealth of information. So this is where I'm going with this part as we great close out. I'm pretty sure you don't mind sharing your knowledge and expertise with individuals that may have questions concerning the healthcare industry, patient care, whatever. We like to be a resource for people. How can people reach out to you? And I'm pretty sure you'd be willing to share your knowledge with them if they have questions that they're concerned about as it relates to healthcare. Can they reach out to you?
They can reach out through my social media, direct message me. It's open. Um, I can email my email. I mean, I think social media, if they want to reach out to me, is the best. Or if they see the show and they say, Andre, who's this person? You feel free to give them my number, my email. I'm open. I'm
What's your
open.
social
I'm all
media?
about
What's
helping
your social
others.
media handles that they can reach out to you on?
So
Email.
Instagram is Model Beauty Katina Ann. I'm a model by trade. Facebook is Katina Ann. So they can reach me out through that.
You're a model. Wait a minute. You're not getting off that
Yeah.
easy. She's a model too. So you're not getting off that easy. I don't get many models on the show, dog. So what's some of the
I do
modeling
many
stuff
of things.
what's some of the modeling stuff you've done?
Fashion brands younger and to now, I do fashion brands for companies where, like I model their items or if they want me to model like a specific shade or pants or things like that back in the day, runways, just a lot of different like multifaceted things that I did with modeling. Fun, actually fun. Still in it today. So
You're gonna say, Jessica.
No, I'm just relating to her from the beginning till the end.
Eugene, thank you so much for taking time to come on the show. But before
you're
we leave, let's
welcome.
close out and talk about the new podcast airing this spring. Jessica Javen's Talk. Jessica, give us a little bit of update on that show.
Well, we're wrapping up a full 7 days of work onto a full season, which I'm very happy. What an amazing journey it was, and so much to learn throughout the world of podcasting, which I'm impressed. So I'm leaving here better than I arrived, and very happy and accomplished, and cannot wait to share it with the world.
What about the chicken barbecue hot sandwich that I introduced you to? Did you like that?
Oh, that was good. Yeah. We had all our meals working.
Oh, so once again, let's say Thank you
Wow.
so much, Katina, for coming on to the show. Definitely will have you come back. Ladies and gentlemen, help me here. This has been another exciting
Exciting
episode
episode
of the
of
Andre
Andre
the Beast
Beast
Crayton
Crayton.
Show.